I'm going to start this off with a little bit of backstory, a little bit of history, so people can understand where my thought process is coming from. So, America is currently the global superpower as of World War II, but beforehand, it was the British. And before it was the British, it used to be the Dutch. Now, the Dutch, the way that they had built out their economy, they're essentially the founders of capitalism. They built their economy on shipbuilding. And shipbuilding not only allowed them to bolster their navy, but it allowed them to be able to sail across the world, go out, conquer other countries, create colonies, and this in turn propped up the Dutch Empire, which lasted for quite a time. They were so renowned for shipbuilding that they created an entire economy out of it, which was incredibly lucrative until the British started to learn shipbuilding from the Dutch. And so what happened was you had the British begin to produce ships of the same quality as the Dutch, but they were selling them for a fraction of the price. And so what happened was many of the countries that used to buy from the Dutch began buying from the British, even to the point where even some of the Dutch businessmen started buying these ships from England. And so what happened was Britain's economy flourished, their navy became stronger than the Dutch, and over time, they eventually replaced them as the global superpower. Now, we've all heard the saying, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And I gotta say, it'd be dropping some damn bars because this whole discussion with the H1B visas reminds me very much so of this story that I just told you with the Dutch and the British. Vivek and Elon are claiming that Americans are getting dumber, and so we need to have H1B visas so that we can fill the roles that we need for our tech companies because we can't fill them with Americans, which I think is a fucking joke. Okay? I'll explain why. So number one, when you look at America, America has some of the top schools. And so I hear of many international students coming from places like India, which is responsible for 72% of the holders of the H1B visas. I hear of people coming from those countries to America to study STEM programs. I don't really hear much of Americans going to those countries to study from them, to learn these things. They're talking about Americans are becoming dumber. Well, again, the single country that holds 70% of the H1B visas has a 76 IQ point average across their population. Okay? For comparison, China has an 104. So if we were looking at a vast majority held by Chinese citizens, it'd be a whole nother conversation, obviously, given the CCP's conflicts of interest with the United States. But it would make a little bit more sense to say we're looking for top talent. But realistically, if you're looking for top talent, you're not going to have one country having the vast majority of a certain type of visa. In fact, if you're looking for the top talent, there's something called a 0-1 visa, which is actually looking for exceptional talent that cannot be replaced in America. So if our goal was recruiting the best, we would, for one, use a different type of visa standard, but two, it would not be for a single country to own 70% of these visas to come work here in America. The reason for it is because dollar for dollar, you're getting the best bang for your buck overall from India. The quality is debatable. I don't want to have this be an entire hour-long discussion on it, but as far as what you can pay, if you have two people, one from America, one from India, they can do the same quality level jobs. The opportunities available in India are going to pay far less than the opportunities available in America. So while the American might expect 100K for a certain type of work, the Indian guy is going to be happy with 50K because compared to what his country would offer, he might get 10K. So what happens is you'll have Indians take these jobs and then they begin sending this money back to their home country because that's where their loyalty is. And let's not forget, India is part of BRICS, which is actively trying to de-dollarize and go against the very system that props up America's standard of living. So when I hear them say we can't fill these roles with Americans because Americans are getting dumber, again, these people from overseas are coming to America to study here, to become qualified. And even though that we're having thousands of Americans graduate every single year, well qualified, just wanting to have pay that is representative of the work that they put in, they're getting undercut by people who gladly take a lower rate. And short term, this is going to be only in short term, this benefits the business owners. This benefits the Indians and the foreigners, short and long term. But long term, this is detrimental for Americans. And even short term, it's tough when you go to school for years, you do all the requirements, you do all the volunteering, you do all the internships, you finally graduate, and then you can't even land a job because employers are looking for who can do the job I want for the least amount of pay. Or they just have to bite the bullet and take the lesser pay. It's not how things should be ran. And so you have to look at why people are saying what they are saying. You know, a lot of Americans look at Vivek and Elon and they pedestalize these guys because they are exceptional people. They came to America as immigrants. They worked extremely hard. They're extremely intelligent and they made something for themselves here. But that doesn't mean you just take everything that they say for face value and just run with it. Vivek and Elon benefit very greatly off of these H1B visas, and they're not true Americans. So why would they have loyalty to supporting the best interests of the American people? The answer is they don't. Okay? Elon Musk, people promote Elon Musk so much. But you realize AI at some point, when it is doing a better job than humans, will replace you guys. And Elon Musk is at the forefront of developing AI, and developing robots. So you have to understand this guy who people are claiming is all for free speech, even though he's banned people that I know on Twitter. You know, this guy who's claiming he's for America and is all make America great again, but is actively working to push universal basic income and is not only supportive of the universal basic income, but is creating the technology that's going to allow it to happen. You need to question what these people are saying. You need to question everything that you hear and why you are hearing it, because every single person who gives you a message has an agenda. I have an agenda. My agenda is that I build so much trust with my audience that they want to pour their money into my projects so that we can build something bigger than life. And the only way that I'm going to be able to build trust is by being real with you guys. I'm talking about stuff that most people don't want to talk because they don't want to offend certain people, because they don't want to get looked at a certain way, because these are harder conversations. But I don't care. I'm going to say it like I don't have really anything to risk. So that is the nice part about my position. And that's an excellent ability. And that's an excellent position to be able to build trust, because I can freely speak about the things that are on my mind and on the American people's mind without having to worry about how it's going to impact my reputation. These people who run these billion-dollar organizations, they are trying to protect their margins. And this is why they want these H1B visas. Again, simple solution, only have 0-1 visas. Solution solved. Or at minimum, maybe don't have any single country represent over 30% of a certain visa type. That would also go to benefit the fact that we are looking for the top talent, not just who we can pay the least to get the most from. Because again, if we don't want to end up like the Dutch, if we want to stay the world superpower, we need to make sure that the Americans here who are putting in the time, the effort, and the work are getting paid in comparable value to what they're producing. So these are my points. I know this is a little bit different of content from what we are normally posting on here, but I have a very diverse palette of interests, and I think a way for me to really enjoy posting content is going to be talking about things that I like talking and discussing. So if you guys like this content, make sure to drop a like, drop a comment for any of you guys' views. If you guys have opposing views, if you agree, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.